do we have? A garden. This is something unattended. It's a long it's such a shame. This is someone it's doing this more. Something more hungry. It's too bad here. Things to be the same. Wouldn't it be such a shame if anything were to happen to the Where is the starlight? I'm guessing it's the Universal's garden. You can tell them redecorated. Next do you see them? Oh no, my mic. Are we already using stuff? Can't ever have a stream without scuff, can we? Is this better? Can you hear me? It'd be unfortunate if I'd have to cancel stream because nothing works. Though it seems fitting for the original owner. The one thing I didn't check before walking in. Set the scene. Who am I to take orders from guests? I hope you like the new decorations I've made. I think the spider lilies fit a lot better than any poisonous garden. I think it's fitting. It is the time of year for death. Maybe if you didn't take over Star's stream, it would go in your favor. Oh, but Miso, where's the fun in that? I much prefer the look of this. The last owner had no taste. Are you really going to disagree? I mean, take a look. I think red suits this place much better than purple. Who am I? Who am I? I would argue I'm an honored guest. I mean, honored guest, explorer, a lookout of what's to come. I think any of these titles fit me quite well. An interloper, I would argue against. I mean, you can't invade a home that is vacant. So I think honored guest is my title. And what's to come? Why would I spoil the fun? Wouldn't you rather be surprised and see what's in store than have the story spoiled for you? After all, aren't all of the best stories told in order? No one likes spoilers. Unless you think you're against the rules. Allow me to set a scene of turmoil, grief, and despair. How about you give us a taste of who you are then? Perhaps you'll like my story then. A world of darkness, war-torn, hated. An escapee looking for a better path and just trying to see what's out there. Worlds torn asunder in the landscapes of hate and war, of bloodshed. Who wouldn't want to leave? There was a saying on my world. Dead thorns lie where bodies are buried, for no life can come from scorn. It was something I took to heart. Some see it as warning. Some see it as motivation. I see it as aspiration. Life, death, destruction, misfortune, truth. All of these live in tandem with one another. It's just simply who is the hand who wields it. And who is one to argue against fate. Is that enough of a taste? Or are you ravenous for more? You know, what is your truth? Why would I give that so freely? Truth depends on who you are and your mindset. You said your truth. My truth is that lives cannot be lived without waging war. War is an inevitable, and how you face yourself in the midst of battle marks whether you have the will to survive. Life is hard. It is supposed to be. That is part of my truth. Life does not come without challenges. Why not be the challenge for those to stumble and fall into? Why not be the challenge that others must face and die? What better way is there to live than to put up a fight? Nothing good is ever unearned. Last I heard, this garden was a gift, and thus unearned. I'm sure its owner would not argue against seeing things my way and earning it back. After all, if they cared so much, they wouldn't have left it unattended. Where are you from? A world no longer caring or kind. A world no longer. It does not matter where I come from. What matters is that I am here now. Wouldn't you argue the same? Where you come from only starts a blueprint. It does not make the whole. Star would never leave their domain. Then how do you explain me here? Following. Thank you, Evil Riots. I'm sure you'd appreciate the barren wasteland that I've created here now. I think you'll find that Star has left their domain. Else how would I have come here? I mean, I don't see a star other than those up in the sky. Or are you telling me that they'll be back? Who knows where they've gone? After all, the world is large. I found a library while I was here. It seems they're a storyteller. Or at least a librarian. So many worlds. You intrigue me. Then I hope you stay curious. There's more to this world than just this garden or this space. There's more to the universe than just one's narrow division. After all, looking through those books I mentioned earlier, it seems as though Star leaves their domain pretty frequently. They have to gain their stories. And how many stories they have. The library is about half full, the rest being empty books. One of them, the pages were actually being written in. What story will you tell then? I like to think I don't tell stories. I paint them. Personally, I like the brushstrokes of blood. I find the canvas it creates satisfactory. There is just something about seeing blood and snow. It seems to paint its own picture. I've never been much of a writer myself. Some of the plants in this garden were hard to uproot as well. Painting with words. Still a matter of finding the words to paint with. A blade has always been a better brush, in my eyes. I've never been one for small talk. I much more prefer to sate my curiosities with action. And I don't care what stories I burn. So, you all seem to know quite the few stories being told. It seems you know the owners well. Perhaps you'll tell me a story instead. Though, we'll see how long I care to listen. Words only get people so far. Action is what matters. Action dictates morality, your mindset. If you say you'll do something, but never follow through, at that point I consider you a bard. good evening, Interloper. Good evening. Words can cut deeper than knives. Sure, they can affect a psyche longer, but that requires you caring long enough, or surviving. Knives tend to put an end to that. I just seem to have a difference of opinion. You can't care about the words that are spoken to you if you no longer breathe. A mind stilled can no longer think, can no longer care. That is the kinds of stories I paint. The kinds of stories I care to share. I'd much rather act than speak in grand gestures and flowery language. None of those put food on the table. None of them can save or wrought destruction. It's my understanding that I've arrived at an interesting time. Well, it seems as though we're all guests of this garden. Perhaps you've just arrived in time. Like I said, I believe I'm a grand guest instead, not an interloper. Being an interloper would require that I want to cause chaos. And that's never been of interest to me. Chaos follows me. It does not mean I cause it. Though perhaps, Lady Disdain, you may have a point. Words may be able to cut deeper than knives. Though I like to think knives have a more lasting effect depending on where you put them. The beautiful, handsome dragon, I kneel to your presence. The dragon is out currently. I am no dragon. I found their home and decided perhaps I'd like one instead. There's a reason there's a curse stating, may you live in interesting times. I'd like to think I can provide that service. Welcome in. More and more guests seem to be filtering in. Just what kind of draw does this dragon seem to have? It seems as though you all like your stories, your words. For what it's worth, I am all for chaos. I never said I was necessarily against chaos. Just merely that it follows in my wake. I don't believe I'm the cause of it, though. That would require there being people left to feel chaos. What are you then, interloper? I thought we went over this already, Mizo. I said I was an honored guest of this garden. Would you disagree? Forgive me for my foolishness. Hmm. Perhaps I can forgive. The dragon, I'm assuming, will be in later. Filtering in immediately, I like pretty voice. Oh. You seem to be trying to endear yourself to me. I can appreciate that. A draw you will never have. Hmm. Wouldn't you like to bet? Actually, how about you do bet? What exactly are you willing to put on the table for your little bet? You have the floor. Let's see if you're willing to test it. After all, it seems as though those amongst you are more familiar with this landscape. You're not a dragon then, are you? No. Why would I be? No wings, horns, any such. My dragon friend has one such story whose tale is not at an end, but your story is just beginning to the eyes of this ghost, who has seen it all and then some. Hmm. My tale begins for you. I have lived much longer than you've known me. I've seen the casualties of war, of slaughter, of bloodshed. How it corrupts those who will never see it themselves. Personally, I find those people dull. They prefer to move pawn pieces and believe those below them, as though such castes exist, as though their light cannot be snuffed in an instant. Perhaps you'll find out what I am. Perhaps you'll never see me again. We'll have to see. After all, the seeds of chaos have been sown here. Even if only under the surface. I don't believe my story to be over. Not after today. Though perhaps maybe you all can regale me with tales in the future. I'm sure there's plenty from the library to choose from. Though most I feel as though I should burn. Not everything needs to be remembered. The annals of history do not need to be followed, no matter what those out there believe. Precisely. I have not lived as long as you may have, but I have in death seen wars, empires rise and fall, and I have merely taken it all in. I'm quite content to merely watch. A voyeur to the void. Perhaps you and I have something in common. Though I don't care to regale tales. At least, none of note. Like I said, history need not be repeated lest... History may not need repeating, more so I should say. Perhaps instead, people experience it for the first time, with no guidebook to tell them how people previous have taken care of it. To learn from past mistakes. Sometimes you just need to experience it yourself. And no charter of history can give you the answers you seek. Who watches the watcher? There's always a bigger fish. A beat between heartbeats. A silence between breaths. There is always something there, no matter how far you think it may be. There's always someone to notice something. What if some of those books hold on to memories that some may hold on to for the dragon? Who cares? Truly. Who here cares about history? Who here cares about memories? They can only get you so far, and generally will chain those who look back too often. I'd like to point out history is written by the victors, is it not? So I ask of you, how would you shape the future? In bloodshed and turmoil, allowing chaos to snuff out the light. There cannot be chaos any longer if nothing dare breathes. There cannot be history without those who live it. I do not care for the petty lives. The things that try to have hope ultimately all lead to self-destruction. Why not escalate and speed up the process? I don't care to write down history. I care about seeing it removed. To wipe the past in the echoing halls of time. Too much has gone on for there to be any other path. A future that is silent. The stars in the sky twinkled out, and the planets merely there, spinning until their inevitable end in black holes that outlive them. A total and utter collapse. Perhaps that's what's drawn me here. The power to be able to do that. Perhaps that lies in this garden. Something brought me here, after all. I can't leave until I find it. More specifically, I refuse to leave. Interloper or not. You may speak the truth. Some things in history are best forgotten. Exactly. Many points in history are painful. A lot of folks would do well to not remember it, to forget their past lives and start afresh. After all, isn't that what you do when you take on a new face? Change the way you speak to others. Change your own mindset. Isn't that what happens when you change your name, your identity? You are literally rewriting history, causing those who knew you before to falter and forget. I merely take a name, just so those can identify me who care to write down history until it is burned. Is my understanding then that you would wipe your own history day to day? Who says I do not already? I don't remember all the worlds I come from. I don't remember how many I've torn through. Why should one care when ultimately it will be part of the void and there will be none to remember? Ultimately, even I will be gone. But I will not care when that day comes. Most of you will already be gone, if not all. For who can live in the vacuum of space? Who can withstand a black hole? I don't believe in keeping score. I don't believe in immortality. So many people try and gain it in various ways. What is an immortal to those who will never remember them? Living forever is not a blessing. The mind was only meant to keep so much. Go past that threshold, and eventually one day you won't even remember your name. I merely allow those who have made that mistake to understand their hubris and folly. Have you all not tasted hubris? Learned from it? Was there anyone there who could catch you when you fell? Is this a poetry? It is not. I'm not one for Poetry. Merely speaking my mind. What is a day when you're immortal? If you think about it, immortals are merely marked by the passage of time. Your better question is, what marks time? What you think of as a day, 24 hours, is merely just this world's perception of it. May I make a request? Can you call me a good girl? Silly. No. That feels like something that must be earned. And quite frankly, I don't believe anyone here has. Don't believe in immortality. Have to disagree with you there. Please, enlighten me, Stun Beetle. If you have an opinion, feel free to share it. You'll find I may end up disagreeing still. Do you have a poetry about apples? I do not. I don't even remember the last time I had one. Or even if I have at all. I don't tend to eat. Can you merely speak your mind about apples? Well, as I said, I don't recall the last I've had one, nor if I've even had one at all. How can I speak on something I've not experienced? Days can blend together, it's all about purpose. Well then, what purpose lies in truths? What purpose lies in immortality? What purpose lies in history? Ultimately, if none are left to remember, there is no purpose at all. All of you banding together. How quaint. I'd almost think it's cute. That is, if I cared. You all seem to be compatriots, or at least familiar with this place. Isn't it so cute? Immortality is the one way to stave off the corruption of time. I would argue that immortality is a corruption of time. Immortality is a corruption in general. One defies fate. One defies the inevitable by trying to ascertain immortality. Why should I stand for such a affront to the very nature of being? The fact that you all strive so hard to gain immortality, to be remembered in the annals of history. Don't you see the folly of this? There is no such thing as staying forever, no matter how hard one tries. It's cute that you're trying. I guess we'll see how long that lasts. Fate catches up to all, no matter the face you wear. It's interesting you would think I know them merely through being in the space. No, I know the dragon, and I believe the one known as Miso is a bodyguard of this garden. A bodyguard? You're doing a piss poor job of guarding. I've had my way with this garden, changed it to my liking. It seems as though this dragon needs better security for their hoard. The amount of treasures, trinkets, everything here. It's cute that you think it's going to help any. After all, how do you think I was able to get in? I think I'll make this place my home. It's not as though there's anything actually stopping me. I'll let you all get used to the new scenery. We'll be making changes around here. We'll see how well this goes for you. Maybe you'll realize just how well fate goes in the hands of immortals, and just how that ends up for the ones who try to defy it. Like, names never fade since they've been around since 3 millennia. We'll see what happens after I'm done with them. Good luck to those 3 millennia. And good luck to your future.